Yes, please.
I'll give you a 2-minute warning and a 1-minute warning.
Okay. I'd like to speak with y'all today about the reasons to end a bad marriage. There are some very good reasons, including when people come together in marriage, it should be a union that lasts a lifetime. But whenever real life really sets in, not all couples are willing to put in the work that it takes to make their married life successful. Sadly, the majority of marriages today will end in divorce. A portion of these are due to the unrealistic expectations of marrying young, also an unwillingness to compromise, and in these cases, the divorces are often pursued before any other options are explored. In some marriages, though, the unhealthy emotional climate, the possibly dangerous environment, and a lack of good role models for your children can make divorce the most responsible choice. When both parties in the marriage are unhappy, it makes for a very tense living situation that affects everyone in the household. When a parent is upset, any child in the home will sense it, and they'll start having behavioral problems 9 times out of 10. For instance, children in dysfunctional homes tend to have disciplinary problems in school, such as fighting and insubordination, which generally ends up turning into drug abuse as teenagers, and none of us want that out of our children. Since the children have not developed the coping skills yet, their hurt displays itself through anger at other children or themselves. The stress in the home can cause a lack of concentration that can also affect their learning and their grades. Parents who are already trying to navigate a stressful, and unhappy marriage then have the added emotional burden of knowing that their child or children are suffering because of the adult's relationship problems. In some cases, the unhealthy emotional climate leads to physical abuse. And when people are stressed and unhappy, they have a much shorter fuse. So when their kid acts up, they can lose control and become physically and or verbally abusive. For example, a child can get a bad note from their teacher, and the overwhelmed parent give them a spanking and it go a little too far. And the abused child we don't want to do that. Sorry, this is horrible. Sometimes the parents lose control when in an argument and can physically lash out at each other, which is also very emotionally devastating to everyone in the household, not just the children. When parents in these situations are not being good role models for their children to emulate, children learn from their parents how to have a healthy relationship, how to communicate, and how to be parents themselves. If good examples are not available, they tend to grow up to be like their parents and choose partners that abuse them or that they abuse. Parenting style also tends to be repeated onto the next generation. Once begun, if it's not corrected, it is a vicious cycle that is very hard to break. And we as humans, we want to be happy in all of our relationships, but sometimes we just can't without changing the very essence of who we are. Life in an emotionally unstable home can cause tremendous damage. Negative emotions and a lack of ability to argue constructively often lead to physical and or verbal abuse. When people find themselves in these situations, it is very difficult for them to be good role models. Divorce is often viewed only as a negative thing, but sometimes it can be the most positive thing that you can do for yourself or your children. That's it.